Hi guys, welcome to another interesting episode of 100% Joy series. Let me share a story with you. So, when I finished university and I was about to go for my youth service corps, it was around the time when you couldn't influence where you would serve. For some reason, at that point in time, you can't even influence it. And I really needed to go to a place where I could spend that 3 weeks and not hate myself. So I made a prayer, like a pronouncement, and I said, I don't know where I'm going to serve, but Lord, please, I want to go to a place where there's an airport and I can fly there and fly back. That was all I asked for. And I kept speaking it, that I was going to go to a place where there was an airport. I don't know how it was going to happen, but I was going to go to a place where there's an airport. And at the end of the day, when the posting was out and we all went to check where we were posted to in the school, I found out that I was posted to Borno State. Now, Maiduguri has an airport. Now, first of all, my first reaction was like, oh my God, it's so far away. It's, somewhere on at the northern edge of the country. And I was like, oh my God, it's so far away. And then I just remembered that when I said I wanted to go to a place where there was an airport, I didn't specify where. Maybe if I specified where I wanted to go and I was more specific about how far that place was from where I lived, then I probably would have gotten maybe Abuja or the country's capital or something else. But hey, I still got somewhere that had an airport. And it kind of taught me the importance of our pronouncements and our words and the things we say and how powerful they were. When I was pregnant with my son, I lived in Lagos, and anyone who lives in Lagos or has been to Lagos knows that the traffic in Lagos is on another level. So I kept praying that the day I was going to have my son was going to be a day where there won't be traffic and I'll be able to make it to the hospital on time, because my house was a distance from the hospital. And true to my words, I kept speaking it every day. I went into labor 2:30 a.m. on Sunday morning. And everybody knows that Sunday morning can be, a good time to take a drive in Lagos in the morning, because everybody's in church or at home, resting. And I left home about 7:30 in the morning and drove to the hospital with no traffic, no hitches on the way. And I got there, just in time. And I checked in and had my baby, later that day. Anyway, what am I saying? I'm saying that the words we speak create our reality. And there's so much power in our words, but we don't know. We just speak. We don't, we don't even weigh what we say. We don't even know the gravity of the words that come out of our mouths. But our words create our reality. That's a fact. When we come back, we're going to look at how powerful words are. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Welcome back. So how powerful are words? Very powerful. They're very potent. They are spells that we cast. Like when a magician casts spells, they use words. They're like spells we cast, and they always go out to carry out whatever command we have given them. So if you're one of those people who just use words carelessly, it's time for you to rethink. Growing up, people used to say stuff like, I'm crazy. I'm crazy. And it was supposed to be vogue. It was supposed to be a cute thing to say about yourself. But how do you tell yourself, I'm crazy? I'm crazy. So don't be surprised when you start dealing with mental health issues, because you've always called yourself crazy. I read a story once about this lady who kept telling herself that she wasn't lucky with relationships. She kept saying she wasn't lucky with relationships. And she went through life getting the short end of the stick each time she was in a relationship, until she figured out that it was her words that was creating that reality, and she decided to change and flip what she was saying to herself. So many times we find ourselves in the predicaments we find ourselves because of the words that we speak. Because when we speak words, they travel. We send them on missions, and they don't come back until they accomplish that vision. The world was created on words. All God did was speak, and it came to be. Whatever he spoke became. That's the same way we as human beings operate, because we're made in God's likeness. We are also creators. Whatever we speak becomes. So whatever you say becomes. Have you thought of times when you've wanted something so bad and you kept talking about it, that this is what you want and this is what it's going to be, and you were really resilient about it, and it happened? Have you ever thought of how you have talked about something so much and the next thing it appears and you're thinking, oh, what a coincidence? It's not a coincidence. You spoke it into your reality. So whatever reality you're dealing with right now in your life, you spoke it into reality. Not your village people, not your enemies. Nobody else spoke them, but you spoke them into being. And that's why the flip side is, it's very important for you also to be careful what people speak into your life. Sometimes people speak negative words into our lives and we don't refute it, we just accept it. And before you know it, it begins to take form. Why? Because you received it, maybe out of fear. You even started dwelling on it and thinking, oh, maybe this is true, maybe this is who I am. Like, the children who grow up in abusive homes, and every day the parents tell them things like, you're good for nothing, you won't amount to anything, you're useless, you're this. And then those words, you hear them every day, they become part of you, and then you grow up believing that that is who you are. It is why a lot of people are dealing with self-esteem issues. It's why a lot of people are dealing with the absence of self-love. It's why a lot of people are dealing with addictions, because it's a form of escaping their reality. It's the reason why a lot of people are making wrong choices, because hey, the person I respect and adore most in my life has told me that this is who I am. So I can't even be any better. So words are very strong. When you speak the words that are not positive, are not growing you, are not helping you, are not, meant to make you better, you need to take them back. When people speak words that are negative into your life, you must refute it immediately. I've had friends who jokingly go like, you're a useless girl. And immediately I say, no, I'm a useful person. And we're joking. And they go like, oh no, I was joking. I say, no, I know you're joking. But you see, nature doesn't know jokes. The vibrations do not know jokes. Anything you say, as long as it has come out of your mouth and it has gone out there, you've sent it to work. So most times when people crack jokes with me and go, call me names, I refute it and replace it with names that I want to be called. Even when I'm out with my son and maybe he's playing with a friend and I hear them, talk from a distance, and maybe the friend says, something to him that is derogatory or is negative, I refute it from where I'm sitting. And I tell him to do the same with a smile, because I know that those words will go a long way if you keep letting them sink in and seep in. It's like water seeping into your boat, and after a while, that boat is going to sink. Your words are really powerful. The world was created on words. It exists on words. And that's how it has been. That's how it will always be. Your life exists on words. And that is why it is important for you to say the right words and speak the right words about yourself. And it's also important to be careful what you let into your life. When we come back, let's look at how we can use our words to improve our lives. Don't go away. I'll be right back. Welcome back. So how can you use your words to improve your life? How can you create the reality you desire with your words? One of the things I did when I discovered that my words were creating my reality, amongst other things, was learning to say positive affirmations to myself every morning and every night before I go to bed. Because it took me years to learn negative self-talk. So it's not going to go overnight, because now I'm speaking positive words to myself. I needed to practice and make it a way of life, to do it until it becomes a part of me. And that was what I did. Every morning, I will say affirmations to myself. Sometimes I'll read books about affirmations. I'll go online, look for affirmations, take the ones I want, put them, write them out in my journal. And I wake up in the morning, after I pray, I say those affirmations to myself. I am beautiful, I am blessed, I am victorious, I'm talented, I'm intelligent, I'm worthy. I say those affirmations to myself. And then at night, that's the last thing I do before I go to bed. Then I took it a step further and started speaking what I wanted to see into existence. So I will call forth the things that I want to see in my life, regardless of what my situation was. It was really tough at first because, you're seeing a different situation and you're calling forth something else. And then you're thinking to yourself, how will my words just bring these things to be? But when I went through the world's creation again in Genesis, in the Bible, and I saw how God spoke with confidence and with ease, and everything he said happened, I learned to speak without fear, with confidence and with ease, believing that what I'm speaking, I'm already seeing. So I started visualizing those things. So when I speak it, I make sure that I see it in my mind, because I know that once I can see it in my mind and speak it, then it will eventually become my reality. But when I do it, I don't dwell on it. I let it go because I've spoken it, and I make sure I do not do anything or say anything that will go contrary to what I have spoken. And in time, I have seen those dreams happen. Now, I always write down the things that I want and the things that I speak into being. One of the things I've noticed is that whenever I go back to those journals and look at, the things I've written, maybe months later or a year later or 2 years later, I find out that those things have already happened. And why did they happen? Was because I spoke those words, I believed them, I trusted that those words would go out and they were going to accomplish the purpose I'd set it for, and I didn't do anything to contradict what I had said. So, you need to learn to say the right words to yourself. Be kind to yourself with your words. Speak positive words to yourself. Then speak what you want to see into being. Speak them like you already have it. Behave like you already have it. You already are experiencing that you want. Be careful what people say to you, what you let into your life. Whatever you do not want, do not accept. When people tell you what you do not want, refute it immediately. No, this is not for me. This is not what I want. This cannot happen to me. This is what I want. And then you replace it with what you want. When you're able to consciously make sure that your words are always positive, are always in line with what you want, and you make sure that the words you let into your life with your permission are the kind of words that are also in line with what you want out of your life, your reality is on its way to changing. So take a chance with me today and start speaking the right words into your life. Being intentional about the things that you say, knowing fully well that you're creating the reality that you live in. And I know that in a few months, you'll be telling me about how much your life has changed. So this is where I end it today. And until next week, speak what you want to see into your life. Bye-bye. Hi, welcome back. So if this is your first time, hit the subscribe button and turn on your notifications so you know when new episodes come up. And I would love to hear from you. Don't forget to like, share, or comment. Or if you have questions or opinions, I would love to hear from you. So that done. What is self-care? Now, self-care is about making decisions that serve you physically, spiritually, psychologically, emotionally, and even professionally. It's important to take care of yourself because if you don't, you would not be able to take care of others. It is said that you can't give what you don't have. If you don't take care of yourself, you cannot be in a proper frame of mind or a proper emotional state to take care of other people. And that's why it's important to take care of ourselves. When you become an adult, you have so much to deal with. You have bills to pay, you have work to attend to, you have kids, probably a spouse or a partner, but you're responsible for other people and other things, and you share your time into all this. And most time we forget to allot time to ourselves. You need to be able to allot some time to yourself, the time you get to spend with yourself, the time you get to check up on yourself and go like, hey, Joy, how are you doing? What do you need? Do you need to be pampered? Do you need a pedicure? Do you need a manicure? Do you need a massage? Do you need to take a course? Do you need to do a certification to improve your chances at work? Do you need to take a break from your life? Do you need a holiday? Do you need some time to breathe? Do you need to see a counselor? Do you need to see a coach? It's important to take time off to know what you need, because sometimes we're running on auto drive. We don't think about what is happening. We don't think about how our decisions are affecting us. We don't think about how the time we invest or spend in other parts of our lives is affecting our well-being. And that's why sometimes you see people, either break down, burn out, collapse, lose it at some point, because you're running on auto drive and you're not taking out time to check on yourself or take care of yourself. When you don't do that, at some point, it's going to come back to haunt you. It's just like a car. No matter how you drive your car, at some point, you're going to take it in for servicing. The oil is changed, the car is looked at, things are done to make sure that the car is in order before you get it back on the road. But if you keep driving the car that way, without getting it checked, without doing any oil change, without servicing it, what's going to happen is after some months, your car is going to pack up. Your engine will pack up. And that's the same thing with us as human beings. If we keep running on auto drive and we don't take out time to take care of ourselves, to spend time with ourselves, to just let ourselves breathe, then at some point we are going to pack up, either permanently or temporarily. You see that most lifestyle diseases people suffer from, most emotional breakdowns, are due to the fact that we don't take out time to take care of ourselves. When you don't take care of yourself physically, it shows. It shows in how you look, and how it sometimes even shows in your performance, your productivity, if you don't take care of yourself. So it's important to create time to look out for ourselves, because it's the only way we can bring out the best in ourselves, and it's the only way we can give the best of ourselves to others. When we come back, let's look at how we can take care of ourselves. Don't go away. I'll be right back. Welcome back. So how do you take care of yourself? It's simple. As much as you allot time to every other thing you do in your life, make sure you have me time. And that me time has to be the time that you spend with yourself, the time you spend grooming yourself, growing yourself, reevaluating yourself, getting to know yourself, improving yourself. Now, I've said 5 different things. So I'm trying to look at every area that we take care of ourselves. So you want to eat well, you want to sleep well, you want to get in enough hours of sleep, you want to eat well, you want to have a healthy, lifestyle, you want to have a routine. Exercise is important. Even if you can't do it every day, you can do it 3 times a week. It's important to have healthy boundaries. That means that when it's time for you to spend time with yourself, no other person should be able to eat into that time. People should be able to respect your time. So you must have healthy boundaries. And if people can just put you in different directions anytime they want, and if you don't have boundaries, you don't say no, you just get up and go, then you're going to burn out real fast, because you're going to be there for everybody and you won't be there for yourself. You need to learn how to say no. It's very important. I had to learn it the hard way. You might lose some friends, you might lose some people at some point, but people will adjust and come to understand and respect your boundaries. Learn to say no when you need to say no. If you're tired, let it go. I know days when I have so many things lined up to do in my itinerary. Maybe I've gone through my day to a point and I find out that I'm getting mentally exhausted, or I'm getting emotionally wild up, or I'm getting physically tired. I always reschedule what's next, because I know that if I'm not in top shape, if I'm not in the right frame of mind, I cannot function. And if anything happens to me, life will still go on. That is one thing I need you to remember. No matter what you're trying to achieve, no matter how you think you're needed everywhere, if anything happens to you, life will go on without you. A lot of people have left and life still goes on. And when we leave, life will still go on. So when you have that at the back of your mind, always listen to your body and know when it's time to rest. Know when it's time to take a break. Know when it's time to shut down for a while. It's important to listen to your body, to your spirit, to your emotions. They always speak to us in different ways. It's why sometimes we are irritable. It's why sometimes we feel anxious. Sometimes we're worried. Sometimes we're depressed. Sometimes we're, easily ticked off. It's the way your body is trying to speak to you that it needs to breathe. It needs some time off. And we need to be able to listen to our bodies when it speaks to us. Practice mindfulness. Spend some time just being quiet with yourself, getting to know yourself, getting to evaluate the things that you have done and how you can do them better. If you don't take care of yourself, you can't take care of others. If you don't take care of yourself, you can't be useful or valuable to anyone, not even to yourself. So it's important for you to start making conscious efforts from today to take care of yourself. Book that spa date. Take that holiday. Take some time off. Nobody will die. The world will not come to a standstill. Everything will still go on fine when you come back. But guess what? Now it will even be better because you're rested, you're in a better frame of mind, and you're in a better place psychologically, mentally, and emotionally. Take care of you. You're number one on your to-do list. Whatever list you have made, you're number one on that list. So take care of you so that you can take care of others. That's all for today. And I look forward to another interesting episode with you next week. Until then, take care of you. Bye-bye. Hi guys, you're welcome to another interesting episode of the 100% Joy series. Let me tell you a story. So each time I write a book, I go through a process. I figure out what I want to write about, the message I want to put across. I get a title for it. And after I get a title for it, I chapterize the book and then build a writing plan. Now, this is me being honest with all of you. I have never followed my writing plan or writing schedule. That means if I say, okay, I'm going to write 2 chapters every week or 3 chapters every week or a chapter a day, which is possible, I never follow my writing plan. But I always intend to. So so the day comes when I'm supposed to start writing and I sit down to write, and then, I'm distracted either by, maybe a phone call or something I'm supposed to help somebody out with, or a movie I want to see, or maybe a reel, some reels I get to see on social media, especially the movies. I get distracted, with the movies. I love movies, so this is me being honest. So this happens a lot, and then I find out that the only time I actually get my work done completely is when I put myself on the spot. What do I mean by that? I've had times when I am supposed to bring out a new book. So what I do is I go on social media, I put the poster and a date the book is coming out. Sometimes I go as far as planning an event for the launch of the book and getting IVs out. Trust me, most times when I do this, I'm not even done with the book, but that makes me get to work. And all that pressure makes me get the work done and get the book out there. Now, I used to pride myself with the fact that I worked so well under pressure, always leaving my work till the last minute, and then just sitting down. And what I would have done, maybe if I had a work plan, it might not even be a book, it might be work I have to do for someone, and work I might need maybe 3-4 weeks to get done, with my plan. I wait till maybe 2 days or 3 days or a week. It depends on how the volume of work, but I get it done. Now, I wait until that time and then I still get the work done. So I always pride myself with the fact that I worked so well under pressure. But I kind of realized that there was something responsible for me acting that way, and I could actually work smarter and better. Because yes, the work always comes out great, but I know when I look at it that I could have done something better if I just followed my schedule or my plan. When we come back, let's look at what it is that makes us act this way. If you're on the same boat with me, don't go away. I'll be right back. Okay, so welcome back. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please hit the subscribe button. And also make sure you put on your notification so you know when the next episode comes out. And please, I'd love to hear from you. Share your opinions, share your thoughts in the comment section, even your questions. I'll be happy to answer them or even use them to create another episode answering your questions. How cool will that be? And if you have suggestions, stuff you want me to talk about, please leave it in the comment section. I look forward to hearing from you. So now, what makes us act that way? It's called procrastination. Procrastination is putting off what you can do or should do today for another day. It's also the act of putting off what you can do till the last minute. It is when you put off meaningful activities for, trivial activities that actually you can do without doing at that point in time. Now, when you switch meaningful activities for meaningless activities, remember I said instead of writing, I go on to watch Netflix. I mean, Netflix can wait. The movies can wait. The hanging out can wait. The surfing the internet can wait. But that's the time that I've allotted for work, and then I use it for something else. Now, there's a difference between procrastination and being lazy. When you're lazy is when you don't even want to do anything at all, and that's a whole different ball game and a whole different story. Now, procrastination is you having the intention, you want to do it, but you don't eventually get to do it. That's the problem. So it's that gap between what you want to do and actually doing what you want to do. That is where procrastination lies. So every day you wake up, I'm going to do it. Even sometimes when you set goals for yourself, like, you want to lose weight or you want to, learn a new craft, or you want to start going to the gym or something. And then every day something else comes up that is not even as important as that goal that you've set. And then you end up not doing what you're meant to do. So that is procrastination. And a lot of people are dealing with it. I dealt with it for a long time. I'm sure it still raises its ugly head once in a while with work, but I found ways to manage it so it doesn't affect my work or productivity. Because I found out that even though I work so well under pressure and get things done at the last minute, I always go back to look at my work. As much as people would, celebrate it and tell me how wonderful it is, I know that it could have even been much more. I could have added something else. I could have removed something else. I could have written something a different way if only I had started on time and had enough time to go through my work and follow the schedule that I had planned to follow to achieve that goal or to create that work. When we come back, let's look at how you can stop procrastinating and become more productive. Hi, welcome back. So how do you stop procrastinating? It's one word or maybe two words, but a compound word: self-discipline. This is about you making decisions and sticking by them. This is about you denying yourself of the present pleasures for later gratification. This is about you, making a conscious effort, making decisions and sticking with it. Discipline is what will make you say you want to do this and you stick to it and you do it. It has to do with self-control, being able to make decisions and not get distracted by anything. So if you say you're going to give 1 hour to writing or to, working on your goal or working on whatever it is on your project, you're going to give 1 hour. And nothing is going to take away that 1 hour. So obviously, at that point when you need to work, you put off your phone. In fact, I had a friend once that I talked to about the issues I was having with sticking to work a few years ago. And she told me to download a particular app and put on my phone. And with that app, what happens is when I'm about to work and I set the time I'm supposed to work, calls won't come into my phone. But when I'm done, I can see that a number of people tried to reach me. And that worked for me because, the phone won't be ringing at that point in time when I'm working. I'm not distracted. I'm focused on what I'm meant to do, at that point in time. So I said setting goals for myself. I'm going to work at this time. I'm going to work from 11 to 2. I'm going to make sure that I'm not close to my phone. I'm going to make sure that the TV is off. I'm going to make sure that I'm in my work area, probably my home office. If you don't have an office at home or a study at home, you can create a space for yourself at home where you would not have to go through any distractions. You can actually focus on your work. Another way you can actually overcome procrastination is having a daily list. Have a daily to-do list and hold yourself accountable to that list at the end of the day. It's not something I can emphasize too much. Always have a journal and always have a to-do list. Every day you wake up, have a schedule and follow that schedule to the letter so that when you come back in the evening, you look at it and you go like, oh, I've been able to do this and do that. You also still need an accountability partner. Someone that you respect that can hold you accountable. Someone that you respect that you wouldn't want to disappoint, that can hold you accountable for the goals that you set for yourself. So someone that you check in with to say, oh, I've been able to do this, I've been able to do this, I've been able to do that. It will keep you on your toes and it will stop you from procrastinating. But above all, it's important to build your self-discipline muscle. Once you can learn to be disciplined, to say something and stick with it, to set a schedule and stick with it, then you're well on your way to living a productive life free of procrastination. Procrastination will deprive you of time. It will deprive you of creativity. It will deprive you of success. It will deprive you of growth. But if you make up your mind to set goals, be disciplined enough to stick to them, smash them, meet your deadlines, and keep going, the moment you start feeling that rush, that adrenaline, when you accomplish what you're meant to accomplish at record time and do it well, it's a habit that you don't want to give up. So put in the work, build a habit, get used to setting your goals and smashing them and enjoying the victories that come with it. And before you know it, you're well on your way to living a very productive life. That's all from me today. I look forward to another interesting episode with you soon. And until then, keep setting goals and smashing them. Bye-bye. Hi guys, welcome to another episode of 100% Joy series. Today I'm going to tell you a story about a young boy called Joseph, who was his father's favorite. He was a boy that his father loved so much. I mean, it was so obvious, even his siblings were very jealous of him. And the siblings were so jealous that, they started plotting, to kill him. It was a boy that his father loved so much. He loved him so much that it was so obvious to the siblings and they envied him for it. Now that wasn't all. Joseph was a dreamer, like a dreamer. He would have, and his dreams were not just any regular dreams. They were dreams that always made him look like he was, the one that his brothers were going to serve. And that even infuriated his brothers the more. And they began to plan his demise. But for his elder brother, who saved him and decided that, a better fate for him was for him to be sold to slave traders. I don't know how that's a better fate, but hey, I think he was just working according to God's plan for Joseph's life. Anyway, Joseph was, sold to slave traders, and they told his father he had been eaten by a wild animal, and then he was taken to Egypt. I can imagine the culture shock for Joseph, moving from this boy who was his father's favorite, who I'm sure even when the father wants to eat, when we're growing up, parents will always give the favorite child another piece of meat, maybe the last one in their plate or something. I'm sure Joseph was that child who would get that last piece of meat. But now he's a slave, tied up, chained up, and taken to a strange land he knows no one. And I'm sure he was probably a teenager. I'm sure he was probably a teenager at the time. And he was bought by some big shot called Potiphar. And it looked like Joseph's fate was beginning to look better because Potiphar put him in charge of his house, and then something like a a butler. I'm thinking, someone who just runs the house, so you're not a slave, But Potiphar's wife decides to fall for Joseph and tries to seduce him. And of course, Joseph had principles, and he said no and ran out of her room, and she sets him up. Long and short of it, she sets him up, and Joseph is thrown in prison. Now, I'm sure he's thinking what he had done, what in the world he had done to deserve this fate, and why God had abandoned him. Now, Joseph had hit rock bottom as far as I'm concerned. And he's in prison with criminals and all sorts of people. And then he's there for years, and these two people who worked with the king, a butler and a baker, have dreams, and they were troubled about their dreams, and Joseph was able to interpret their dreams to them. One of them was going to be called out, one of them was going to be executed, and the other one was going to be restored to his position. Now, Joseph told the one who was going to be restored to his position not to forget him when he gets out there. Eventually, the butler was restored to his position, and by the way, he forgot Joseph there for another 7 years. And then the king has a dream. And after the king had his own dream, none of his wise men, none of his sorcerers could explain his dream. None of his magicians could explain his dream. So the butler remembered Joseph and said, there's a man who explained my dream in prison. I think he'll be able to do the same. And of course, Joseph was brought out, he was cleaned up, brought before the king, and the king told him his dream, and Joseph was able to interpret the king's dream. Now, Egypt was going into a time of famine and a time of plenty. And the king asked Joseph what he was supposed to do to be able to manage this time of plenty and time of crisis coming to Egypt. And Joseph gave him a solution. And the next thing, the king made Joseph a governor, like his second in command, who was going to manage the affairs of the kingdom and also make sure that Egypt had enough food stored and survive the time of famine. And the king gave Joseph his signet ring, which Joseph wore as a sign of authority. Now, this story is one of the most inspirational stories in the Bible. And this story means a lot to me. And I decided to tell it before we go into today's topic, because today we're going to be talking about what happens when you hit rock bottom. A lot of people see rock bottom as a bad place. But today I want you to see rock bottom from a different perspective and see what happens when you hit rock bottom. Don't go away. When we come back, let's look at what happens when you hit rock bottom. Welcome back. If you haven't hit the subscribe button, please hit that red button and also put on your notification so you know when the next episode comes up. And you have any comments, opinion, whatever you want to share, questions, please put them in the comment section. I would really love to hear from you. Okay, so what happens when you hit rock bottom? What is rock bottom? Rock bottom is like when you hit the bottom of the pit, when you hit your lowest, when you're at your lowest point in life, when you've hit a point where nothing can be worse than this. You know, when you get to that point where you say there's nothing worse than this that can happen to me. When you lose everything, when it looks like there's no way out anymore, when it looks like there's nothing that can break you more than what has broken you, you have reached rock bottom. But you see, that's the most interesting and phenomenal place you should hit in life. Because once you hit rock bottom, there's nowhere else to go but up. Because that's when your journey really begins. Every other thing you're doing before you get there is just you sampling life. When you get to rock bottom, that's where the real schooling happens. That's where the real growth happens. That's where the real test happens, and that's where you find yourself, because at that point you're stripped of ego, you're stripped of self, you're stripped of every distraction, you're stripped of every false image that you've had of yourself. Every mask that you've worn comes off at that point, because you are broken to a point where you surrender. You're at the point of surrender. Like, you know what, you're at the point where you go like, I don't know what life is throwing at me, I don't know what life is bringing, but you know what, I've reached a point where I've surrendered to whatever it is that is coming. And that is when the light breaks in and you begin to see your path and know how to navigate it. But a lot of times when people hit rock bottom, they think it's the end of, you know, the road, is the end of the journey, is the worst place to be in life. And then our attitude and perspective to it is what keeps us there. Because how long you stay in rock bottom depends on how long it takes you to pass whatever test it is to move to the next level of your life.
I haven't, but I want
There's
to
always
hear
a plan. You're not born without a plan. There's always a plan. And everything you go through, your pain, your test, is set to be commensurate to what you desire out of life. And when you begin to go through that test and pain, that's when you give yourself into it and you're not resisting it. It bets your purpose. Your purpose is what you're meant to do on earth. When you find that, you find fulfillment. And when you begin to walk in it, every other thing that you have ever wanted begins to come to you. Everybody wants to be successful, wants to be wealthy, wants to make it, you know, but all that comes when you begin to walk in line with purpose. Because it's not just about having money, it's not just about being successful, it's not just about being celebrated, but it's about you being happy and fulfilled. And true fulfillment and happiness comes from doing what you're meant to do with your life. And that's one of the things you discover when you hit rock bottom. When you give up everything that is not you, when you give up everything that is false, when you give up letting everything on the outside be your problem, worry you, you know, the circumstances around you, when you stop letting it control how you think, how you make decisions, how you live your life, and allow what is on your inside to begin to control how you make decisions, how you live your life, then you begin to find your way out of rock bottom, because that is when growth begins. Joseph found himself in a situation that he has never experienced in his life. He was his father's favorite. All of a sudden he becomes a slave. But we don't see him revolting or rejecting the process at any point in time. He found a way to make the best of everywhere he found himself, and he kept thanking God no matter the situation he found himself. Some of us haven't even gone through a tenth of what he's been through. We are just about to curse God and die. I'm just in quotes, you know, using Job's wife's words to him. We're just about to just tell God a piece of our minds and move on. But he stayed faithful. He believed that there was a plan and he was going somewhere. And then it wasn't just being a servant to Potiphar. He ended up in prison. I mean, you look at yourself and say, what am I even doing in jail? How did I get here? You know, the culture changed, the way his life just changed overnight. But he stayed faithful. He found a way of putting his talent to work even in prison. He found a way of being of help to other people even in prison. He didn't wallow in self-pity. He didn't, you know, let his situation overwhelm him so much that he wasn't even interested in helping other people. There are people in that situation who will say, well, you had a dream, that's your business, stick with it, you know, because they're going through hell themselves. But he was going through hell, but he didn't let hell go through him. Instead, he was, you know, trying to help other people get through their own situation. And at the end of the day, his gift brought him before the king. Why? He didn't let his situation kill his gift. He didn't let it downplay his gift, and he brought him before the king. He became a solution to a whole country. He became a solution to a whole kingdom. What were the odds that the king's ring was exactly a fit with Joseph's finger? It means that his life had been pre-planned, it had been predestined. He just needed to pass his test, live in line with his purpose, to connect with his destiny or desired outcome. And that was what happened for Joseph. Everything we desire is already there, is already provided. We just need to walk through our test, find our purpose, live that purpose, and walk our way to our desired outcome. When we come back, let's see how we handle ourselves when we hit rock bottom. Welcome back. How do we handle ourselves when we hit rock bottom? It's tough. I've been there. And trust me, there's nothing nice about rock bottom. In fact, it's not even a place you can think straight. It's not a place you can even be positive, even if you tried. It's not even a place you wish your enemy to go to or remain. But how do we handle ourselves there so that our stay there can be short and brief and we can make it back up to where we're meant to be? First, we must maintain a positive attitude. It's tough, but honestly, the way you think, the way you feel, the things you say to yourself create your reality. You must see a different perspective, a positive perspective to whatever you're going through. So instead of saying, why is this happening to me? Let your words be, what is this teaching me? What is this pain meant to teach me? Because your pain reveals your purpose. Your purpose leads you to your dream life or your desired outcome. So ask what the pain is teaching you. Ask God what you're meant to learn from the pain that you're dealing with. Everything is about perspective. Do you want to see the problem, or do you want to see what the problem is betting in your life? The second thing you must do is live a life of gratitude. Now, gratitude is not only about when something good happens to you. In fact, for me, I don't think that is what real gratitude is. It's not about, oh, I just made $1 million, thank you, God. Or, oh, I just got a new house, thank you, God. I think gratitude is more about when you're in a situation where you shouldn't even be grateful, but you still find something to be grateful for. There are times I've been in, situations that honestly there's nothing to be grateful about, but I always find something to be grateful for. Either I'm going to say, thank you, God, that I even woke up this morning, or maybe it's a small accident, and I'm like, thank you, God, that I'm even, okay, nothing happened to me. Maybe I lose something, and I'm thankful that that thing is gone, but it doesn't affect any other thing. It could have been worse. And that's the mentality I adopt. It could have been worse, but it's not. So I am thankful. I am grateful. So I find things to be grateful for. Sometimes it really gets so tough for me. What I do is I go on a walk. I find things to be grateful for, even from way back, way back, as far back as 10 years or 15 years. So practice gratitude, stay positive, change your perspective, keep it positive, and then speak the right words. Speak what you want to see. Don't speak what your situation is. Speak what you want to see. That's a tough and crazy one, because sometimes people think you're crazy. In fact, there was a time I used to pray, and all I used to do was I prayed thanking God for the things I wanted to see, but I prayed like they had happened. And it became magical, because in no time I started seeing those things happening. When you begin to do that when you're in a dark place, when you've hit rock bottom, you will see how fast you come out of there. Because first of all, your eyes are open to what the test is that you need to pass through at that point in your life. You're able to see it from the right perspective. You're able to pass that test, and once you pass that test, it's your springboard to the next phase of your life. So I want you to adopt a different attitude from today. Dare to think positive or think differently about your situation. Look for the things that you can be grateful for in your present situation, and then stick to it. Every day, stay grateful. Every day, speak what you want to see. And in no time, I'm sure I will be hearing from you. That's all from me this week, and I look forward to seeing you at the top. Bye-bye. Hi guys, welcome to another interesting episode of the 100% Joy series. Today we're going to talk about toxic relationships, what it means to be in a toxic relationship, what are the red flags to look for, how to know if you're in one. But for us to talk about that, we have to know what a healthy relationship is. Now, there's no definite definition for a healthy relationship, but we have a broad definition, because a healthy relationship is relative to different people, because we all have different needs in relationships. Some of us, what we're looking for or what we need to in a relationship is different from what other people need in relationship. So yes, it could mean different things to different people. And then again, even with age, it means different things to different people. So when you're in your 20s, what you're looking for in a relationship is different from what you're looking for in your 30s, or in your 40s, or in your 50s. So yeah, a healthy relationship could vary, but there is one definite definition, one broad definition of healthy relationships that we can look at, and that's the fact that it's two people being together but being so interested in each other's welfare that it is their joy and goal to see each other grow mentally, physically, emotionally, professionally, spiritually, and in every other area of their lives. It is also a relationship where people are together but can independently make decisions. A healthy relationship is also a relationship where we respect each other's boundaries. We know where we as a couple start, we know where we stop, and where our individual lives begin and where they stop. Because at the end of the day, regardless of the fact that you're together as a couple, you also have individual goals, you have individual life paths, and both of you are supposed to be able to work together, encourage each other to be able to walk those paths in your relationship. So yes, I think I basically covered everything I think I know about a healthy relationship. Like I said, it could mean something else to you and to another person depending on what you're looking for in a relationship. When we come back, let's look at the red flags that you should be looking out for in your relationship. I'll point you towards the fact that you're either in a toxic relationship or a healthy relationship. Don't go away. I'll be right back. Welcome back. Let's look at the red flags that will make you know if you're in a toxic relationship. So first of all, if you have a partner who wants to either change or control you, then you're in an unhealthy relationship, because no human being should be trying to change another person. This was who you were before he or she met you. So trying to change you after you get into the relationship, it's not healthy. Now, if the partner also tries to control you, control your decisions, who you talk to, who you relate to, how you spend your time, what you do with your life, now that's an unhealthy relationship. You need to pack it up before it begins to destroy you emotionally, physically, psychologically, mentally. Another red flag that will make you know you're in a toxic relationship is if your partner does not respect your boundaries. As much as two people come together as a couple, we must learn to respect each other's boundaries. As human beings, we all have boundaries. That's our private space. That space, which is not necessarily physical, but that space that is yours as a person, it means that there are some decisions you should be able to make about your life without anybody interfering with it. The most your partner can do is support you or give you their opinion on those decisions you make. Respect is a very fundamental part of relationship, and that is one of the things that would make you know how your partner feels about you or how your partner feels about the relationship that you're in. So it's important that your partner respects your boundaries and you respect your partner's boundaries in exchange. So it means that no snooping around phones, no snooping around personal spaces, and no encroaching on personal time. Sometimes, no matter how close people are, you need alone time. Sometimes you need to spend time with yourself. The time you spend with yourself makes you a better partner for your partner, because you need time to recharge, you need time to reflect, you need time to exhale. And your partner should be able to understand that, or you should be able to understand that also with your partner. When you keep snooping around, you won't find what you're looking for. So you should be able to trust, and the only reason you will snoop around is because the relationship lacks trust. Because if you trust your partner, you have no reason to snoop around. Either your relationship lacks trust or you're an insecure person. So either way, you have to check yourself, because at the end of the day, boundaries must be respected in a healthy relationship. Another red flag you should look out for in a relationship is when your partner says negative or hurtful things about you or others. Anyone who is mean to other people can't be nice to you. If that person is nice to you, it's only temporary. After a while, you're going to see who the person you're truly dating is. Anyone who can talk down to you, verbally abuse you, say negative things about you or hurtful things to you or about others, it's not the person you should be with. Because those words will go a long way. When you listen to them over and over again, they begin to shape what your life becomes and how you feel about yourself. If you're in a relationship where you feel unheard, you can never speak how you feel, you can never express yourself. Even if you do, it falls on deaf ears. It means that you have no say in that relationship, because communication is very important in relationship, and both of you have to be able to express how you feel about certain things, and you have to be able to listen to each other. Most times in relationships, people speak but they don't listen. When you're in a relationship where you're speaking and all you want to do is wait for your partner to finish so you can speak also, and nobody is listening, nobody is hearing what the other person is saying, then that's a sign that you're probably in an unhealthy relationship. When you're in a relationship where you're afraid to express how you feel or express your opinion for fear of being shut down or offending the next person, now that's a no-no. That's a big red flag. And finally, when you're in a relationship where you have discrepancies and you can never sort them out, because when you argue about things, you never can reach a conclusion or reach a compromise, then you need to look at that relationship again. It's important that you're able to communicate about the issues that you have, but walk through them in a healthy and a reasonable way. Now, if any of this is going on in any relationship you're in right now, whether it's with a partner, a husband, family member, friend, then that relationship needs to be checked again, because red flags means that that relationship is unhealthy, and you either need to work on it or walk out of it. Is one of the two, but you can't let things stay the way they are, because eventually it's going to hurt the both of you. When we come back, let's look at how you know it's time to walk out of a toxic relationship. Don't go away, I'll be right back. Welcome back. You know, most times we find ourselves in relationships that are neither here nor there, but we have hope and we keep struggling, we keep trying to make it work out, and we stay there trying to see if that relationship is going to make a headway. We all have, well, maybe not all of us, but a lot of us have been there. I have been there. I have taken myself on that wild goose chase, maybe once or twice. But anyway, how do you know that your relationship isn't healthy for you, isn't good for you, and it's time to move on? Most times we stay in those relationships because we're thinking of what people will say, how people will look at us. What if I can't find somebody else? The fear of the unknown. Oh, how will it look to people if I leave? Oh, I don't want him with somebody else. You know, just all the crazy reasons that don't make sense. But these are questions you must ask yourself, and I'm sure if you honestly answer them, it will give you the strength to make the right decision when it comes to what is best for you and what is best for your partner. Because remember that when you're making a decision to walk away from a toxic relationship, or making a decision to see how you can make it work, either way, it's not just about you. It's ultimately about what is healthy for both of you, because relationship is about two people. Now, these are some of the questions you should ask yourself, and I really need you to be honest with yourself. Now, ask yourself, does this relationship grow me? Am I growing in this relationship? What is this relation? How is this relationship adding value to my life? Am I becoming a better person, or is it bringing out the worst in me? Ask yourself, do we share the same goals? Ask yourself, if this person that you're risking so much for, do we share the same goals? Are we going on the same journey? Do we have the same destination in life? Are we seeing life from the same perspective? Do we want the same kind of relationship? Is my partner looking for what I'm looking for? Or does he want something else? Does she want something else? Are we on the same page when it comes to relationship? Does he want to get married? Do I just want to still explore my life? Do I want to have kids? Does he just want to still enjoy being with me? There's so many things you have to look at. You have to be on the same page for that relationship to work. Because when you're not on the same page, you're speaking two different languages. And when you're speaking two different languages, you're not going to understand each other. Now, you're going to ask yourself another question. Can I be myself around them? Do I accept them for who they are? I mean, if you're with someone that you have to put up a front or be a certain way because that's the only way they will accept you, then you have a problem. If you can't be yourself around the person you're with, I don't know how long you're going to keep up that act. And then if you can accept who they are, maybe they have, vices that you can't live with. Maybe they have behavioral patterns that you can't deal with. Ask yourself, can I live with this for the rest of my life, or can I live with this at all? If your answer is no, then you know what you should be doing. You know what decision you should be taking. You're gonna ask yourself, is my life better with them in it or with them out of it? Think about it. Am I better off without them, or am I better off with them? The time I spend with them, does it add value to me? Does it make any meaning? Is there any meaning when I spend time with them? Does it add value to me? Does it deplete me? You have to think about these questions deeply and answer them. Only you can answer them. Don't ask anybody else, because everyone can have an opinion, but at the end of the day, you are the only one who can tell yourself the truth. Now, if your answer to all these questions are in the negative, then you know what to do. Then you know that you're in a toxic circle and you need out. Now, when you find that out and you need out, it's not just about you setting yourself free, it's about you setting the other person free. Because that person might not necessarily be toxic. Being in a toxic relationship sometimes does not necessarily mean that the people in the relationship are toxic. It might just mean that there are two people who are either in two different spaces in their lives or phases of their lives, or who are not even meant to be together, who are trying to be together. And so because they want different things, they like different things, they're in different spaces, they think differently, they're not able to, exist in the same space. So that means the right thing to do, or the honorable thing to do, is to let that relationship go, believing with all optimism that both of you are going to find the people that are right for you. So when your answers to all these questions are in the negative, then you know that you need to do something about the situation you're in. But at the end of the day, you're the only one that can make that decision. But the truth is, no one should stay in a toxic relationship. If you're in one right now, then you know what happens when you stay in one. It makes you unproductive. It puts you in a place where your life is a mess. You feel depressed. Sometimes you build negative emotions like becoming resentful and bitter because of the things that you're dealing with, you're tolerating, and you're not walking away from. I can tell you that categorically because I have been there. And honestly, I know that most times we're afraid of being alone, or we're afraid of trying again, or we're afraid of what we don't know, the unknown. But trust me, I don't know how this sounds to you, but you're better off alone than in a toxic relationship. Because at the end of the day, in a toxic relationship, you have no use or value to your partner, and you have no use or value to the world that you live in. At the end of the day, nobody can tell you what you need to do with your relationship. I always tell people, no two relationships are the same. People are going through different things, and people have different reasons why they stay where they are. And honestly, it's important to respect people's decision and people's choices about how they want to live their lives. But if there's a chance that your life can be better if you make some conscious decisions, then why don't you take that chance and do right by yourself and your partner? In the end, I've seen people who have tried to, stay together even though they know that it's not working, they know their relationship is unhealthy. But when they were able to find the courage to move on with their lives, they were able to grow, find their right partners, and, they ended up becoming friends and relating well as friends. So most times when we make these decisions, it might look as if it's the end of the world, it might hurt, but at the end of the day, one day you will look back and you will thank yourself for making that decision, or thank your partner for making the decision to move on.